Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jenny and today I wanted to talk a little bit about skincare. So I want to go over my skincare routine and I also want to touch on my experience with Accutane because I have had quite the experience with it, so I wanted to share that with you if maybe some of you are considering going on it, just some things to think about before going on it. But of course everybody's different, everyone has different experiences with Accutane and medication in general, but it's just good to hear other people's experiences and kind of know what you're getting yourself into. So I thought I would share a little bit of that with you today. So if you want to hear the products I use for my skincare routine, and if you are interested in learning about my experience with Accutane, then keep on watching. Okay, so I think I'll start with my skincare routine and kind of get that out of the way, and then I'll get into my story with Accutane. So I do like to keep my skincare routine very simple. I think less is more when it comes to products. There was a time when I thought the opposite, and I used way too many skincare products. When you use so many skincare products, it just overwhelms your skin and it doesn't know how to tolerate all those products at once, from my experience anyways. So I keep it very simple. I do have slightly different routines for day and night. So in the morning, I will cleanse my face with my Skin Facial Cleanser by GP Makeup. It's a really nice and natural face wash, so I use that in the morning. And I use it along with my Clarisonic. I will say the cleanser doesn't foam up, and I usually do like cleansers that kind of sets up a little bit on my face. This one is super thin, so it almost just feels like water. So it doesn't lather when I use the Clarisonic, but that's okay. And the cleanser is really nice. It smells like lime. And then I'll just go in with my Philosophy moisturizer. It's just a good everyday moisturizer. It smells really nice. It feels really nice on the skin. It doesn't make me feel greasy, which is really important for me because I have super oily skin. And then I actually go in with a topical treatment that my dermatologist prescribed for me. So I put that on any problem areas I have. And then I'll also just go in with my Philosophy eye cream. I don't even want to talk about this. I am not a fan at all. It's like a jelly consistency and it honestly does nothing for my under eyes. So I'm just using it up. I'd love to hear any recommendations that you guys have for a new eye cream because I am just not a fan of this one. So that's basically it for my morning routine. The only other thing that I want to add is that I am on a medication for my skin right now. I'm on spironolactone. I've been taking spironolactone for probably 2.5 months now, and it has helped my skin significantly actually. I take 100 milligrams once a day in the morning. That reminds me I haven't taken it yet today, so I have to do that right away. So that is all I do for the morning. I keep it really simple. I don't like to put too many products on my face in the morning because I just want my skin to breathe. So moving on to my nighttime skincare routine. This is where things change a little bit. So if I'm wearing makeup that day, I will go in with my Green Clean cleansing balm that I mentioned in my previous video. This stuff works amazing. So I'll go in with that and get rid of all my makeup. Then I will go in again with my Skin face wash. It just makes sure that I get all of my makeup off. And then sometimes I'll go in with a toner. It kind of just depends on my mood, to be completely honest. So I've been using the Ole Henriksen Glow 2H toner. So it's okay. I don't think I'll purchase it again because I just haven't noticed much of a difference with it. It does work at getting rid of any extra dirt on my face, but other than that, I haven't noticed any brightening factors with it. Like it hasn't brightened any of my dark spots or acne scars or anything. And next I'll go in again with the same moisturizer, the Philosophy moisturizer, and then I'll use my nighttime retinol topical treatment, which again I was prescribed by my dermatologist. And I'll just put that on any problem areas again. And of course I'll use that same eye cream that I'm not a fan of, but again I'm just trying to use it up. And finally for my nighttime skin routine, I will just put on some castor oil on my eyelashes and my eyebrows and just get those all nice and moisturized. And then I'm ready for bed. That's my very simple skincare routine. I don't like to add any more products to that. And I've been doing that for like a solid few months now. just sticking to that routine. I will show a clip of my skin without makeup because obviously I'm wearing makeup right now. So as you can see, my skin is definitely not perfect. There's a lot of scarring. I still have some bumps, but it's definitely come a long way. So it's not perfect, but we're getting there very slowly. 23 years old and still getting acne. It's awesome. So yes, that is the skincare portion of this video. That's everything I wanted to cover with that. If you have any products that you recommend for acne, I would love to hear them. And I think we will move on now to my Accutane story because it is a doozy. So I did write some notes down for this video because I do have a lot that I wanted to remember to talk about. Because we go way back to when I was in grade 10, which was a long time ago now. Let me think. So that was 8 years ago now. That is when I kind of became fed up with my skin. It wasn't horrible. I never had cystic acne, but I did have acne and it bothered me. So I decided to go to a dermatologist for the very first time and he prescribed me Accutane. Keep in mind, I was not on birth control at this point in my life, and they usually do recommend that you take birth control along with Accutane because there are some severe risks to the fetus if you get pregnant while you are on Accutane. So I was prescribed Accutane and I did not have to go on birth control because I was just a little 16-year-old, not worried about the boy aspect of life. So I was on that for quite a while. I don't remember exactly how long, but it was at least a few months, and it cleared up my skin perfectly. My skin looked so nice. I did have some scarring, but my skin was so smooth, like the smoothest that it had been in a very long time. And then all of a sudden, I noticed that my periods were getting very bad. I was bleeding super heavily. This is gonna be TMI, so I'm sorry, but I was bleeding like crazy. My period, I remember it lasted 3 weeks of solid bleeding. Like I would bleed through a super tampon within half an hour, and that was not normal for me at the time. And I didn't think much of it. I knew that wasn't normal, but I didn't really associate it with the Accutane. But it got to a point where it was so bad, I had to go get blood tests, and I was anemic. My iron was super low. So I actually had to go on iron supplements. It was so bad that I was falling asleep in the middle of the day because I was just so exhausted because I just did not have energy from having such low iron. So that's when it kind of became a concern, was when I was just so sleepy. Like it was just really out of character for me. So I went to my dermatologist about it. He seemed confused because I don't think he had ever heard of that being a side effect before. So I did go off the Accutane because of that. So I didn't end up taking the Accutane for as long as I was supposed to because of these symptoms. I needed to stop it because my health was becoming a serious concern. It was rough. So I stopped the Accutane and my skin stayed really nice for quite some time. And then going into grade 11, the beginning of grade 11 was okay. My skin was still really clear. And then the second half of grade 11 was when it started to go downhill a little bit. It was nothing crazy. I just had a couple pimples here and there. It was still way better than my skin was before, so I was still happy. So fast forward to the summer after grade 12, my skin absolutely freaked out. This was partly due to diet though. I know that for sure because it was summertime. I was staying up really late with my friends. We would go out and get Slurpees at like midnight and eat chips and stuff, so it was a really bad lifestyle choice at the time. So my skin absolutely freaked out. I had some horrible pimples up on my forehead, really bad ones right on my chin right here too. So yeah, my skin just absolutely freaked out, and that was the worst it had been since I went on Accutane the first time. So from that point on, my skin stayed moderately bad. Like it didn't completely improve from that summer on. So I did have pretty bad forehead pimples. it would come and go. I would try different skincare products and then it would kind of help my skin. So it would go back and forth between being good and then being bad. And then fast forward to summer 2017, my skin again was just so bad. The forehead pimples were out of control at this point. I remember going on a trip with my boyfriend to the mountains. We went camping and obviously we took a lot of pictures there. So we took some selfies obviously in front of the waterfalls and whatnot. And I remember before I posted those on Facebook, I had to go in and edit my forehead because it was so bad. The bumps looked crazy. And looking back, like, I didn't think it was super bad at the time, but when I look at the pictures now, I'm like, oh my gosh, that was so bad. So anyways, that summer I decided to go back to my dermatologist, and this time he decided to prescribe me with the generic version of Accutane. So it wasn't the exact same. I was like, cool, as long as it works the same, we're good. And no, it did not work the same as the normal Accutane medication. First of all, I had horrible mood swings. Like I changed. Like I became not a good person. Like that sounds crazy, but something about that medication turned me into a bee, because even like around strangers, I just was not friendly. Like I was just always super grumpy. So I went back to my dermatologist. I told him that the generic brand was just not working for me, so he put me back on the like regular Accutane brand, and again my skin cleared really nicely after a while. I was probably on it for 5 months. My skin cleared nicely. I will say it didn't clear 100%, but I had reached my like 5 or 6 month mark, and so my dermatologist didn't want to put me on it for any longer. So at that 6 month mark, my skin wasn't 100% perfect, but it was good enough and it was better than it was before. I was still happy with the results. But then my acne came back a lot quicker that time. I started getting breakouts shortly after I went off it, and I kind of just dealt with it. My skin wasn't horrible, but I did have acne again. So I dealt with that for quite some time. Nothing worked, of course. So then about a year later, summer 2018, I went back on Accutane for the 3rd time. And I took it for another probably 4 months, maybe more. My skin cleared up really nicely again. And then, again, my acne came back. And this time it came back even faster than the previous time. So my acne started coming back around winter time, and it stayed with me for the entire 2019 year up until now. I was not cured from Accutane. I took it 3 times and I'm still dealing with acne now. My skin wasn't horrible this year. It went through phases. I did experience some chest and back acne at the beginning of this year, and then it kind of would go away and then come back. Super weird. I don't know what's up with that. My skin was pretty clear in the summer. It was not 100% clear, but it was okay. And then again, it was okay on our trip to Europe, and I think it had a lot to do with just being in the sun and letting my skin breathe. I didn't wear a whole lot of makeup. And then after my Europe trip, my skin just absolutely freaked out. And this time it was all here in the hormonal area, like under my cheekbones, all along my jaw, really bad ones around my chin. And that's when I knew, okay, this must be hormonal this time. So I went back to the dermatologist, and I have been on spironolactone ever since. So far it's going well. It's one of those medications where apparently you can stay on it as long as you need. There aren't any serious side effects. You just need to be careful with your blood pressure, because medication does lower blood pressure. That's what it's meant for. So you do just kind of need to monitor that. But so far so good. It is slowly starting to clear up my skin. Of course, it's still not 100% clear. It does take time though. I've only been on it for about 2.5 months, like I said. So it's one of those things that you need to be really patient about. So that is my Accutane story. Would I recommend it? I don't know, it's not really my place to say. So no, Accutane I don't think was worth it for me, just because after taking it for such a long time and you put all those months together, it didn't do anything for me. So especially given the side effects, which I'll mention in a second, I just don't think it was worth it. I know that like some people went on it once and that was it, that was all they needed. And their skin is still beautiful now, but unfortunately for me that was not the case. I should mention that the last 2 times that I was on Accutane, I was also on birth control, and I didn't experience any other bleeding issues like I did the first time I was on it. So it was just that one time. Finally, I just want to go over the most common side effects that I experienced personally. So of course, the most common side effect is dry skin. That's what it does. It dries out your skin like crazy so that you literally do not produce any oil anywhere. My lips cracked like crazy, especially in the corners. I couldn't do that without my lips cracking, and it was very painful. I also got nosebleeds pretty often, maybe 1 a day. I don't really remember, but I did get them pretty often, and it was so annoying because they would last for a decent amount of time, and again, I couldn't really do anything about it. My nose was just so dry. There is this nasal spray called Rhineris, I think, that does help a little bit, but it didn't help a whole lot for me, unfortunately. So again, that was just another one of those things I just had to deal with. Also, my hands got extremely dry. Like, I've always had pretty dry hands, but on Accutane, I would get like little dry bumps. It almost looked like eczema. It was super uncomfortable. It was super not cute to look at. So that was just another thing that was super annoying. I had to always moisturize my hands, and again, it still didn't really get rid of the bumps. So that was another thing that was really uncomfortable for me, and it just did not look very cute. Also, I got dry eyeballs. Like, my eyes would just always be dry no matter how much I blinked. It just felt like there's always air blowing in them or something. It was really strange, and that was really uncomfortable too. But eye drops did help a little bit, but again, they didn't help a whole lot. This is something that I think a lot of people are concerned about when deciding if they want to go on Accutane or not, is hair loss. I don't know if I was shedding because it was just that time of year where you shed. Is that even a thing? Anyways, because I was on it in summertime, so is it more common for your hair to shed in summer? I'm not sure. But I did shed quite a bit, and my scalp was producing 0 oil, so it never got greasy. My hair was always pretty dry, but my hair, I don't want to say it was falling out, but it did shed more often than usual, and that was kind of concerning because obviously no one wants to lose a lot of hair. So that was another thing that was just a little bit sketchy. But I didn't like get any bald spots or anything. Like, it wasn't noticeable, but for me it was, because when I washed my hair in the shower, more hair was coming out, and I was like, what's going on? So I definitely think that was from the Accutane looking back. So that's everything I wanted to cover. My camera's about to die, so I want to finish this up really quickly. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any input on skincare or Accutane, please leave it in the comments. Let me know what videos you want to see next. Have a wonderful